and Merry Christmas. I'm Juliet the daughter.
Bah humbug. That must make me Kevin the dad.
Especially if you say bah humbug. And everybody, we are wrapping up season 5. We've done this for 5 years with our annual Christmas special. And this week we are covering 'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets. So, Dad, what do we need to know?
Well, we need to know that Los Straitjackets started out in, of all places, Nashville, Tennessee.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Guitarist Eddie Angel had moved there in the early 80s to record and perform with the band The Planet Rockers. Guitarist Danny Amos was also working in Nashville with the surf band The Ray Beats. He then worked as a sound engineer, and the two of them, along with drummer Jimmy Lester, formed the Straitjackets in 1988. They played some summer gigs and then broke up. They reformed in 1994 to give it another shot. This time they hired a bassist, E. Scott Esbeck, and hit on a new visual gimmick, Mexican wrestling masks. This time they called themselves Los Straitjackets and were able to cash in on the post-Pulp Fiction surf revival, which, yes, that was a thing at the time.
Really?
It was definitely a hipster thing, but it was a thing. They put out their first album, the utterly fantastic and totally unbelievable sound of Los Straitjackets, on Upstart Records. They toured and gained a cult following due to their tight playing and their masks and their suits, as in jackets and ties.
Yep.
They kind of look like the Kiss album, the cover, Dressed to Kill, but the masks gave the band a lot more anonymity. They recorded the second album, Viva Los Straitjackets, in 1996, and by 1999 they had signed with Yep Rock Records, which has been their home ever since. E. Scott left during recording, and Pete Curry came on board and has been with them ever since. Other members have come and gone through the years. In 2010, Danny Amos was diagnosed with multiple melanoma, but he did come back in 2012, but called it a day in 2017. The current lineup is Eddie Angel and Greg Townsend on guitars, Pete Curry on bass, and Chris Sprague on drums. In 2014, fellow Yep Rock label mate Nick Lowe recruited the Jackets as his backup band for his Christmas show tour. They got rave reviews, and Nick has used them quite a lot when touring. The band has put out 14 albums, mostly instrumental. There have been a few where they've had guest vocalists. Their last album was an EP, 2019's Channel Surfing, which is their take on TV show themes. And Los Straitjackets have been eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 2019.
They should get in.
I think they should. As for me, the first time I saw Los Straitjackets was in Fall River at the Narrows with Mike and Sandra back in 2019. They were backing up Nick Lowe for a Christmas concert. And these guys are like the tightest band I have ever seen. They can play anything in any style. And your mom and I saw them and Nick 2 more times. Once in Boston at the Wilbur Theater, which was a non-Christmas show, and then again at the Narrows, which also was a non-Christmas show. The way it works is Nick does a set with them, then he turns it over to Los Straitjackets so he can rest up because he is in his 70s.
He's tired.
And then he comes back for a second final set. And if they ever come to your town, go see them. Really, go see them. Now, here's the thing. Your mom and I also saw them back up Marshall Crenshaw at the Narrows a few years ago.
Shit.
And it was one of the oddest shows ever.
But good?
Well, here's the thing. Marshall came out and he did maybe 2 or 3 songs. And then he had to leave the stage because he looked confused or lost about something. I mean, I don't know if the drugs kicked in or just a memory lapse or something, but it was kind of awkward for a few minutes. Then he ended up leaving the stage, and Los Straitjackets had the cover for him. And let me tell you, they saved his butt. Marshall eventually came out and performed the rest of the show, no problem. But it was really, really odd. And I mean, to this day, no one in the audience really knows what happened. But I want to get an album of theirs, but there's 14 of them from which to choose. So I settled on their 6th album, 2002's 'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets, because the first time I saw them was a Christmas show, so I thought, why not? Then a few years back, I found out that they had put out a compilation CD of their Christmas albums, 'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets, and 2009's Christmas Beat, And then some other compilations that they appeared on where they did like 1 or 2 songs. And this compilation is called The Complete Christmas Songbook, which came out in 2018. And it contains 27 songs. But we're going to stick to the first 13, which comprise, "'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets." But if you're really good, we might throw in a 14th song. So you kids out there, behave.
Yeah, we still gotta think about it if you guys have earned it or not, being our fans. But I have one question before we go into the songs. Do you know how Nick Lowe found Los Straitjackets? Or how they kind of came into contact with one another?
Well, I think it was because they were label mates.
Oh, okay.
And eventually, Los Straitjackets did an album of Nick Lowe songs, all instrumentals, and it's called "What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Los Straitjackets."
That's great.
And it's worth it just for the album cover alone because it's takeoff on Nick's first album, Jesus Is Cool. And I listened to the album, and I liked it, but it's like I've got the original songs going through my head,
And
which
you heard
I
those
like
first.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I heard a lot better. Okay, so as for my copy of "'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets," I gave it to your Aunt Andrea, and she loves it.
She does.
But her assessment was, every song sounds like Wipeout.
Which I can get.
But does it?
Well, not really.
Let's find out.
Okay, first song, Here Comes Santa Claus. Here Comes Santa Claus was never my favorite. The lyrics are hokey, and I always eye roll when I hear Elvis doing it for the kids, even though it's nice he has something for the kids. I think the only reason this isn't hokey is because of the opening guitar with that strumming. Da-da, 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 da-da. That's as low as I can go in my voice right now. And a drummer who sounds like he's hitting metal trash can lids. But I think what makes Los Straitjackets' rendition great is how they improvise around the melody like jazz musicians,
Yep.
which isn't something you see a ton with rock or with Christmas music. It's probably my favorite cover, but again, I'm not in a rush to download it because it's easily not one of my favorite Christmas songs. Nothing against them, just,
Okay, this was written by Gene Autry in 1946, and he was inspired by hearing people shout, "Here comes Santa Claus," whilst he was riding his horse in the Hollywood Christmas parade.
Aw.
And it's been covered countless times. Even Bob Dylan covered it.
No way. How's that one? Why didn't you send me that one?
I didn't want to frighten you.
Oh, okay. That's
Just
fair.
because Bob has a Christmas album.
Even though he's a
and,
nice Jewish boy.
well, the thing is, it's like all the proceeds went to some charities.
Oh, okay.
And it's still available out there. And I borrowed it from the library, and it kind of turned into an endurance test.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway-
it's charity.
Anyway, Elvis Presley's version gets a lot of play this time of year because he did it for the kids, and he's into it.
Yep.
Now, as for Gene's, his version is the one you hear when the SWAT team invades the Griswolds' home towards the end of Christmas Vacation.
Yep.
And I think it's just perfect for that scene. And then we have Los Straitjackets. And if their rockin' version doesn't get you out of your seat or at least have you drumming on a tabletop, then check your pulse because you're probably dead. Jimmy Lester's drumming makes this the most wipeouty of the songs on "'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets."
Next track, It's a Marshmallow World. I love those opening drums. They sound very Beach Boys. This one, they don't vary from the main melody all that much, and it causes me to drift off because Marshmallow World is not one of my favorites, and it wasn't when we did our Phil Spector episode. The lyrics are like eating too much dessert. So I was nodding along rather absent-mindedly until the end as the guitar notes ascended, growing higher and higher along with a matching tempo increase. That was fascinating and fun to listen to. I get that they want to pay homage to the original, but in my opinion, they should have taken this song and ran in whatever direction they wanted to go.
Before I get into my thing, I'm going to say that with the Beach Boys, that drum sound, you got to credit that to Hal Blaine because Brian Wilson got to a point where he started using studio musicians to make the boys' music while they were out on tour, and then when they'd come off tour, they'd supply their vocals. Anyway, this was written by Carl Sigman and Peter DeRose, and this is the first song on this compilation that does not mention Christmas. What? Oh yeah, there's a few. Bing Crosby first recorded it in 1950, but I think the best version is by Darlene Love on the Phil Spector album, which I don't mind it, but I can kind of get your point of it's like ODing on too much Christmas cookies and candy and all that, it's all the marshmallows. The goofiest version, though, easily is Dean Martin's.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Your mom has it.
I can just imagine.
Oh, yeah. It's Scoopy as all get out, but it's fun. And he doesn't take it seriously.
I didn't take any of his songs seriously.
Yeah. As for Los Straitjackets version, it's kind of a calm rocker. I think something to cool you down after the mania that was Here Comes Santa Claus.
We transitioned from that rock to yacht rock.
I guess.
Yeah, to come down and decompress, have some Christmas kush. Anyway, next track, Feliz Navidad. I love the original version by Jose Feliciano, and there's a second version I love from Christmas Eve on Sesame Street that's an instrumental with strings, clarinet, and bassoon. It's almost melancholy as Big Bird tries to learn how to skate with a cute little blonde girl. Rest in peace to that skater who had to wear the giant Big Bird suit. Anyway, what Los Straitjackets does is mash up Feliz Navidad with La Bamba. The sad part is I only knew about this song because of Weird Al's Lasagna. And you can hear La Bamba in the opening.
I sent you the...
Yes, you did. Okay. I listened to the original one. Mm-hmm. One simple key change, and the songs blend perfectly together. Although someone tried to sing this, they'd have to be a bass because of how low the notes are on the guitar. They almost sound like a bass guitar in themselves. The improvisation they do around the melody of La Bamba is fun to listen to because you can tell it's them having fun in the studio. A very interesting cover, but I'm only going to download ones that I prefer to the original.
Okay. This was written and recorded by Jose Feliciano in 1970. He wrote it when he was in the Los Angeles studio and his family was in New York. He was feeling homesick and lonely, and he missed celebrating Christmas with them, and this song just came out of him. It's gone on to become one of the biggest selling digital Christmas singles ever, and it's also one of the top 25 most played Christmas songs around the world.
And I'm going to make an addendum. I think it's one that gets played so many times and nobody gets sick of it the way they get sick of Last Christmas or All I Want for Christmas Is You, because it's just fun.
I never get sick of All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I don't either, but maybe it's because I don't work in retail anymore. And I don't hear it played on the radio, and I don't get sick of Last Christmas by Wham either. I'm sure you're familiar with Whamageddon.
Whamageddon?
It's a Christmas tradition that started in England where you have to see how long you can go without hearing Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart by Wham. And if you do hear it, you enter Whamageddon. And this year, there was a big upset because during a football match, English soccer, they played it at a stadium and everybody lost.
Oh, man.
That made the news in Britain.
Man.
Right on the BBC.
Anyway. And for you listeners out there, go on YouTube and there's a mashup of Slayer and Wham doing Last Christmas. It is absolutely worth it.
Anyway, back to Feliz Navidad.
Okay. Jose's version was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2010, if that means something.
No-brainer.
There's also a mashup on YouTube called Ain't Talking About Feliz Navidad.
Yep.
Which is, yes, it's Van Halen and Jose Feliciano, and it is absolutely great.
I couldn't get through the whole thing. I was like, oh, okay, I'm logging off now.
And for those of you who remember Steve Lopes' episode, he did a Portuguese parody version called Chouriço in the Pot.
Chouriço in the pot.
Chouriço in the pot. Chouriço in the pot, the massa's bacon, the caçula's hot. If you're Portuguese, you get every single reference.
The Portuguese kids did also a cover called Visitas for Natal, but I still like the Portuguese Fireman one better.
Okay, and as you said, Los Straitjackets mash up their version with La Bamba, and it just works great. And it's one of those things where, like, I'm surprised no one ever thought of this before. And this is also the longest song on this compilation, clocking in at a whopping 3 minutes and 10 seconds, because 'Tis the Season for Los Straitjackets is 13 songs done in about 32 minutes, and if you listeners are lucky, our podcast might be just about as long.
Oh, and your thoughts on the Sesame Street one I mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I do remember sitting through that one a lot, and yeah, it's just kind of sad.
Yeah.
It really is.
But then when you learn to ice skate, it gets happy again.
It picks up, yeah.
Next track, Jingle Bell Rock. This is my favorite Christmas song as a kid because I love the sound of Bobby Helms' voice so much. His voice and the key of the music were oddly comforting. Any covers I heard that changed the key or had another singer were blasphemous to me. Now, this is the first song that has felt Christmassy. The previous tracks have all felt like rock covers of Christmas music, but this felt like a Christmas song. And why? Because they actually use Christmas bells throughout the whole song in a more pronounced way than the original. The drummer also gets to go off a little bit, which again makes it more rocking than the 50s original. We also have our first fade out of the album with the drums and jingle bells. I don't think I would download this version as much as I love their take on it, but if it came on, I wouldn't have my normal reaction towards other covers of this song, which is to eye roll and press skip immediately.
Okay. And this is yet another Christmas song that mentions not Christmas,
Yep, correct.
which was intentional on Bobby Helms' part, because he didn't want to upset his mother by combining Christmas with that devil music, rock and roll.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, here's the history behind this song. This was written by Joe Beal and Jim Booth and recorded by Bobby Helms in 1957. However, Helms and session guitarist Hank Garland said they were the ones who wrote the song. Beal and Booth's original was called Jingle Bell Hop, and a Decca record exec gave it to Helms to record, but he hated it. So he and Garland changed the music, the lyrics, and the tempo, and even added a bridge. Now here comes the troublish part, because it would not
great.
be my dad listens to this podcast without the troublish. Helms and Garland did not get writing credit, so no songwriting royalties for them.
God damn it.
Now, Bobby Helms did receive performing royalties, which I did not know was a thing,
Oh, okay.
which I'm sure is a lot less than songwriting royalties.
Yeah.
But that was it. Now, Helms could have proved that he was the one who wrote this version, but he said he didn't want to get into it with Decca because at that time, if you did, the label would stop putting out your music.
Oh.
And he just would have been in recording hell or record label hell.
Oh, God.
And apparently this is something that still can happen today. Where if you
Yikes.
don't play games, if you don't play along with the big boys, you will just be banished to obscurity.
God. Oh, God.
And unfortunately, both he and Garland passed on years ago, and I know some of Bobby Helms' relatives, or probably Garland's or both, tried to get it into court, but unfortunately, statute of limitations, and
Damn it.
was just too late. But anyway, Bobby Helms' version of Jingle Bell Rock has been streamed on Spotify over 635 million times.
Sounds about right.
So imagine the cash he and his family could have earned.
Yep.
Anyway, nowadays it is in the top 3, along with Brenda Lee's Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, which actually hit #1 on Billboard's singles chart 65 years after it was released.
Wow.
And the third song, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is Me. She just wants me.
I didn't know you liked Mariah Carey.
I love that song. I like her fast stuff. There's a few songs of hers I really like
Okay.
what's that one? The one that rips off Genius of Love, Fantasy.
Yeah, Fantasy.
I like that
Yep.
one. And her Emotion song and Someday and this one.
Okay.
Okay. Hall & Oates came out with a version in 1983.
Really?
Yep. And the accompanying video is a hoot. They have 2 versions. They have one where Daryl Hall sings the lead or mouths the lead, and they have a second one where John Oates mouths the lead. And these days, they're just both in court. Apparently, Hall has a restraining order against Oates.
Oh, no.
There's something to do with songwriting rights or something. I don't know.
Jeez.
You kids can check on the interwebs if you want. Thanks to Jimmy Lester's drumming, Los Straitjackets cover is flat out thumping. You can twist to it or whatever it is you kids do these days. Twerk to it? Is twerking?
It's still a thing.
They still do that? Is
Yeah.
that still a thing?
Yep.
Okay. And full disclosure, until I did the song research, I always thought that Bobby Helms was black. Who knew? Not me. I did not know.
You're like when Black Twitter found out that Bobby Caldwell was white. I was there that day. Oh, that was interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was, even Ava DuVernay was shocked. I was like, holy crap.
Okay.
That was something to watch.
All right, so I'm not alone in that then.
Nope.
Okay.
Next track, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Oh, I love this already. There's a groove they were able to find to Rudolph that sets it apart from the Burl Ives cover. Plus, the arrangement is simple with a guitar and prominent cowbell. Maybe I've just got Rudolph fatigue, because the special is objectively good and so is the song, but they made the song danceable like cha-cha, and it's so refreshing when you hear the same old song every year. And I love this unique take, so I downloaded it post-haste.
Rudolph was created in 1939 by Robert L. May for a storybook that was published by the Montgomery Ward Company, who was kind of like a Sears company back in the day. 10 years later, May's brother-in-law, Johnny Marks, turned the story into a song. Gene Autry's version came out in September of 1949 and began climbing the charts in November, eventually hitting #1 during Christmas. And it's been recorded a lot.
D. Martin.
Yep, and Rudy. And Burl Ives' version for the TV specials, probably right up there with Gene Autry's in terms of popularity. And like you said, Los Straitjackets gives us a pleasant, unexpected cha-cha version that is guaranteed to put a smile on your face. And this is what I love about these guys. They just always manage to find something different in these songs.
Did Mom ever tell you the story about Stonehill and Rudolph?
Yes, everyone was supposed to go to Mass or something.
There was a mandatory event that everyone in her class had to go to, but Rudolph was on TV, so nobody went, including the teachers, and administration was pissed.
And this was back in the day where there were only 3 networks and no VCR, so you had to stay and watch it on TV.
Next track, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. I've been looking for a different take on this song for a while. I'm slowly getting bored with the a cappella covers I have by Pentatonics and even Jeff Castellucci, whom I love more than anything. And I felt so bad for making that comment about Jeff. I re-listened to his track and I thought, nope, that vocal version is still good. But the opening of this one has an urgency like a 60s spy movie theme with a fast tempo and even the introduction of a piano. It's like, yeah, we're going to have comfort and joy and we're going to rock. And they still keep it in a key to indicate that this is a solemn moment. There's also a little riff where I think it's electric keyboard that's fun to listen to, like, okay, piano man, go off. There's also a key change that I do not hate because both keys in this song are minor keys. And then the final notes played on piano sound like snow falling to the ground with how quietly they're played and at the speed which they descend. Great cover.
This is an early version of this carol dates back to a 1650 manuscript. Now, the first possible printed version dates back to 1760. So, yeah, this is old and it's probably been covered a bajillion times. And yes, because you sent it to me, I listened to the Pentatonics version.
Which I did not send you on purpose.
But you did mention it, and I thought, okay, she sent it, I will listen to it. So I listened to that, as well as the low bass singer version. So all I can say is that's approximately 6 minutes of my life that I will never get back.
No, you didn't even like Jeff's? Oh, man.
It was okay, but I thought, okay, I get the gimmick.
Oh,
to me, it was just
wow.
kind of gimmicky. I'm sorry, low bass singer. I appreciate your low bass. I really, really, really do.
Yep.
Okay, anyway. Mantovani does an instrumental version on his Christmas Carols album, and it's everything you would want the song to be. It's sweeping and majestic, and it just cannot be topped.
So why didn't you send me Mantovani's?
Because I've assumed you've heard it because I've played that CD so many times.
I've forgotten it. But we'll do Mantovani one year. We
will. We still have Christmas albums that from which you can choose. And yeah, Los Straitjackets take God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and they pattern it after the Shantae's surf instrumental Pipeline, which I sent you.
Which one?
Pipeline by the Shantae's.
Oh, yeah.
That's where they get the keyboards and all that. And it is just absolute genius. It really, really is. And it's one of those things where it's like, you're thinking, okay, this is Pipeline, then you hear, and you realize, oh my God, these guys just...
They know their stuff.
They just work on another level.
Next track, Frosty the Snowman. For me, the Jimmy Durante one from the animated special is hard to beat.
Ha-cha-cha.
But when you open Frosty with the drums sounding like Sing, Sing, Sing by Gene Krupa, you have my attention. It feels like a cover you can dance to, like when Frosty has his parade down the street. I think this is one for the drum nerds, but then the guitar kicks in and I'm like, oh wow, they made Frosty rock with a guitar solo that sounds like it's from the 50s. Carl Perkins would be impressed. They give the original melody and their musical riffs equal time, so it makes it one fun cover. Downloaded it almost immediately.
And yet another Christmas song that doesn't mention Christmas. And this was written by Walter Rollins and Steve Nelson in 1950 and first recorded by Gene Autry. You know, for a cowboy, he sure recorded a lot of Christmas songs. Other popular versions are by the Ronettes, in which Ronnie Spector's singing of it as Frosty.
Yeah, Frosty, and I'm like, oh God.
Definitely deserves preservation. I love that. And, of course, Jimmy Durante's version, which is from the TV special. And, yeah, like you said, Los Straitjackets' version starts off like Gene Krupa and Benny Goodman's version of Sing, 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 written by Louis Prima, by the way. Then it settles down to business, and then goes back to sing, sing, sing drum solo during the break. And you really expect big band horns to come in, but it's a fierce guitar solo that makes its presence known. Just absolutely fun stuff.
Next track, Christmas in Las Vegas. I first thought, I've never heard this song and I couldn't find lyrics. Then I realized it was Viva Las Vegas.
Yep.
The opening sounds like game show music from the 60s. In other words, music you'd hear walking into a casino in the 60s. And I don't know if it sounds like Christmas to me. The one moment that makes me go, oh, it's a Christmas song, is how they make the rapid tapping of the hi-hats sound like jingle bells.
Yep.
Other than that, if I found out this was from a Christmas album, I'd think, really? Huh. Also because the drums sound like an intro that would play for a Vegas cabaret act as the curtain prepares to rise. But I still love it because it's fun, and since it's not overplayed on the radio, this one's getting downloaded too.
Okay, just one thing. For the bell sound, they're hitting the ride cymbal, not the hi-hat. You get a nice bell tone from the little hill at the top, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, yeah, it's an original that borrows liberally from Viva Las Vegas, the Elvis Presley version, not the Dead Kennedys version.
No, that would be awkward.
And I think the thing about this, it's a pleasant diversion, but nothing about it really screams Christmas to me. I kind of think of it as a sorbet to cleanse the palate before diving into more Christmas music. It's kind of like, you need a little break.
Next track, Let It Snow. Okay, hear me out. The opening of this sounded like a bass riff from a 60s surfer movie or even Hawaii Five-0. So you could interpret this one as listen, it's too damn hot and it's Christmas. I want some snow to cool down, god damn it. And then they can make their surfboards into snowboards. But this cover really doesn't grab me. Let It Snow is fine, and so's this. Although the plucking of the guitar like violinists plucking their strings is pretty cool, but it's not enough for me to make this great. As for Carly, oh, she's trying to get me to go to bed with her. Mrs. Simon, you're trying to seduce me. That might be my favorite version because she picks up on the sensuality of it. Great track.
And another Christmas song that doesn't mention Christmas. This was written by nice Jewish boys Sammy Kahn and Julie Stein in 1945.
Oh, wow.
The official title is Let It Snow, exclamation point, Let It Snow, exclamation point, Let It Snow, exclamation point.
I'm sure the royalties didn't hurt for Julie Stein and Sam Kahn.
Probably not. This was first recorded by Vaughn Monroe, I think in the same year, and then Frank Sinatra had a popular version that came out in 1950, and then Dean Martin's 1959 and 1966 versions were more popular than Frank's, though.
And then Frank got the mob to break his knees.
How many times did that ever happen?
But
amazingly, Frank let Dean live. And again, there's like a bajillion other versions out there. And, I really, really listen to the lyrics. I mean, I've heard it umpteen times. And lyrically, I think this treads similar ground to Baby It's Cold Outside, but without the controversy yet. And thanks to me for pointing that out, there's probably going to be controversy. Anyway, you've got frightful weather outside. You got a delightful fire inside. And are you sure you want to go out there? Are you really sure? And if you listen to Carly Simon's version, that answer would be, no, I do not. She is definitely coming on with the come on. And it's interesting because she kind of sings it from the host's point of view rather than the guest's point of view.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're still saying goodbye. You haven't left yet. We're still saying goodbye. We're just going to spend the rest of the night saying goodbye in interesting ways.
It's like what people want Baby It's Cold Outside to actually be.
I guess so. Los Straitjackets version sounds to me a little bit like Eddie Cochran's Summertime Blues, which I did send you.
Yes.
Okay, good. You have to listen closely, but it is there, and it works really well. And again, I'm going to say it again, I think the Jackets really put a lot of thought into their mashups.
Next track, Sleigh Ride. Listen, every Christmas concert, my high school band played Sleigh Ride. If I never heard it again, I'd be fine. I think that's why to keep me interested, you gotta dangle enough shiny objects in front of me, like with Hamlet. This is why I like the orchestral arrangement, because it's a full orchestra that can have fun. However, this is very bare bones rock arrangement, and they sound great, but in my head, I just checked out and checking my watch. Nothing against the band, they sound great, just sometimes I get sick of this song.
Okay, Overload, I can respect that.
Yeah.
And this is yet another non-Christmas song. Leroy Anderson wrote this as a light orchestra instrumental in 1948. Arthur Fiedler and the Boston Pops recorded it in 1949, and their version is untouchable. It is definitive. No one comes close to that one. In 1950, though, Mitchell Parish wrote lyrics to go with Anderson's composition. Now, Johnny Mathis's version is the most popular vocal one, which I never knew. I like to think the Ronettes version is number 2 because, I mean, it's worth it just for that. Ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ding-dong-ding.
Yeah, that one's fun.
Totally worth it.
That's a shiny object angled in front of my face, too. You go, ooh, pretty.
I bet Frank heard that and thought, why didn't I come up with that? The ring-a-ding-a-ding, baby.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
It does. But the Ronettes do it so much better. This is a cover of the Ventures version from their 1965 Christmas album called The Ventures Christmas Album. Anyway, the Ventures mashed up their own song, Walk Don't Run, with Sleigh Ride. And I think I sent you...
Yes, you did.
Okay. And Whole Foods played the Los Straitjacket version a lot during the Christmas season.
Was Carl controlling the radio?
No, this was their holiday channel that they would just like play endlessly during the day. So I'm sure when Carl came in that it changed to something a lot better. But yeah, just hearing that was, yeah, okay, I feel better now. That's all I have to say about Sleigh Ride.
Next track, Christmas Weekend. It just feels happy. You know the happiness you get when you realize Christmas is on a weekend? That's what this song is. Oh, yeah, I don't have to request time off of work because Christmas is on a weekend and I can be home with my family and everything's great. So we're going to have some Christmas cheer that we can dance and rock to. And the fade out leaves you with that happy feeling.
Well, you don't have to request Christmas off anymore.
No, I don't.
Now you have a normal job.
And I couldn't even before.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But now you've got, since it's on the Monday, you've got a 3-day weekend.
Oh, it's great.
Good for you. I'm very happy for you.
I'm happy for myself.
Good. I look at Christmas Weekend as another palate cleansing original from the Jackets. I mean, if you listen closely, you can make out some sleigh bells, so I guess that qualifies it as a Christmas song. This song sounds like a song that would come from a Nuggets compilation, which is not a bad thing at all. Nuggets is... well, now it's a 4 CD box set of all these like one-shot psychedelic songs that came out in the 60s. Garage rock / psychedelic rock. Think, you know, Louie Louie by the Kingsmen or Dirty Water by the Standells, and multiply that by...
1,000.
I think there's like over 100 tracks on that box set, which maybe we'll do that someday.
Someday, but we'll have to space it out.
It'll definitely be multi-part.
Next track, Little Drummer Boy. The echo effect on the drum is well used. It's like the drummer and his band are coming over a hill to the manger, and Mary and Joseph can hear the cool music from far away. For me, it has the same fun as the jazzy cover they did on Animaniacs. I think Mary and Joseph would like both of those for how fun they were. Los Straitjackets also does something cool, where they actually build up suspense with some key changes and tempo increases, as if the drummer boy is wondering, oh man, is this enough? Are they gonna like my music? I better keep playing. And once that solo kicks in at the end, that's all we need. No worries, they did like it, and I like the rendition too, but Vince Guaraldi takes the cake with My Little Drum.
Okay. This is written by Harry Simone, Catherine Kennicott Davis, and Henry Onorati. And I believe we covered this song extensively on our first Christmas theme podcast.
Yep.
For me, the Harry Simone chorale's version is definitive. And I did watch the Animaniacs version, and they were a little goofy, but they were respectful of the scene. And I thought it was interesting that as soon as it kicked into like the jazz part, that all the colors turned different shades of red. And I thought, oh, this is where they're all going to hell.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. And as you'd expect, of course, Los Straitjackets' version is drum heavy. And Jimmy Lester's drumming reminds me of Alex Van Halen's at the beginning of Van Halen's Everybody Wants Some, which I did not send you. Sorry, but I'm sure you could.
We all want... Wait, is that the wrong one?
Everybody wants some. I want some too.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different song called Everybody Wants Some. We all want a holiday.
No. This is no. Everybody Wants Some is definitely a non-Christmas song.
Okay, well, that one was a non-Christmas
But
song too.
but the drumming just sounds just like that.
Next track, the Christmas song. This is the slow jam session. I can't imagine this song having a fast-paced rock cover. The fact they play it pretty straight shows how much they respect the song. The guitar plays the melody, and the drummer is gentle, keeping time and not showing off. Yet the way they end it is unique because it almost sounds like a Mr. Rogers song with how the notes don't really end, just float in the air, which is very jazzy to do. And because they play it straight, it's technically one of the longest songs in the album, even though it's only 3 minutes, which, wow, 3 minutes in this context is long. This is a great instrumental, in a different class than Nats, of course. It depends on what you personally want to listen to, the vocal version or the instrumental. For me, vocal version always.
This was written by Robert Wells, Melto, and May in July of 1945. Nat King Cole's trio first recorded it in 1946, but Cole wanted to re-record it with a small string section over the objections of Capitol Records. Result? Massive hit.
Yep.
In 1953, he recorded it again, but this time with a full orchestra, and then he did it again in 1961. And the 61 version is the one you hear on the radio today.
Yep.
And it's also the one that's preserved in the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry. Untouchable in every way. Sorry. Anyway, Los Straitjackets keep things appropriately mellow with their cover. And I look at it as like it's kind of a nice way to close out the album. And I think it's also the perfect slow dance to any Christmas party.
Oh, yeah. Next track, Deck the Halls. This one didn't blow me away. Wait, what? Did I skip something?
No Deck the Halls.
I got Deck the Halls when you sent me the list.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well, that'll be your extra.
I'll talk about Deck the Halls. This is my extra. Because that was what you said was on the bottom of the album.
No, the bottom of the album was song number two.
Okay, we'll reveal that in a minute.
So you're getting two extra songs, listeners.
Well, this is my one extra by accident. Okay, so I listened to their cover of Deck the Halls, and it didn't blow me away. It felt like the generic Christmas song that got slapped on here. And I think this is one song that's better sung because of the hook of fa la 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 la. I mean, it's fine, but I was really waiting for the track that we're getting to. Still, thought I had to eat my vegetables before dessert. But Dad, do you think our listeners have been good this year? Do they deserve a little treat?
The fact that we still have a podcast and people listen to it, yes, they do.
All right, everybody, so we decided that you've all been good this year, and we're giving you a present of one extra track, Linus and Lucy. You know we had to cover this one. It's kind of the law around here. Have you ever had a moment where you didn't realize that a song sounds great with drums until you hear someone add drums? That's what Los Straitjackets does here. The one minor nitpick I have is that when they play, they aren't able to play the higher notes that are mixed in because those are easier to play on a piano than on a guitar. But that's a minor nitpick and a great cover. They even make the jazzy bridge of that song interesting by showing off with some electric guitar at a fast tempo. Great cover.
They do. This is the very last song on Complete Christmas Songbook, and it was recorded live at the Paradise Rock Club in Boston during Nick Lowe's Quality Holiday Review show. Nick introduces the band as he goes off to rest up. I'm going to disappear, ladies and gentlemen, but don't worry, I leave you in the very capable hands of Los Straitjackets. And he does. And I remember seeing them do this live at the Narrows back in 2019, and they do it as a ska tune.
Really?
That's what it is. I know it's your least favorite musical genre, but that's what it is. With that guitar, yes, it's definitely a ska tune, and it is great. And I'm going to say this again, it's what makes Los Straitjackets great. They hear something different in each song and bring something new to it. And you think, wow, I can't believe no one else has ever thought of this before.
I think Vince would like it if he was alive.
Yeah. So if you got half an hour to kill this holiday season, 'tis the season for Los Straitjackets will fit the bill nicely. And if you got an hour, Complete Christmas Songbook is for you. Either of these are the only albums you really need by the band. And if you ever get a chance, again, to go see them live, go see them.
Overall, if you're tired of the same Christmas covers being played on the radio or at the supermarket, listen to Los Straitjackets. They do some great covers here, and you'll be pleasantly surprised as your favorite Christmas classics sound fresh and new. Who knows? You might prefer some of them to the original. I know I did. All right, as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Remember, the more you interact with the video, the greater chance you have of appearing on the YouTube homepage. If you follow me on social media, I post the episodes there. If you are friends with my dad, email him with what you want to listen to, and he'll send it right to your inbox. As always, thank you for listening to My Dad Listens to This. We are wrapping up Season 5. We will be back in the new year with the start of Season 6. Can you believe it? I can't. Dad, anything you want to say to our listeners before we sign off?
If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding with a stake of holly through his heart. He should. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.